Well, hello. Hi, Crazies. I might be a little early here. Let's see how this goes. Okay, I better definitely introduce this girl. This is the loud one. She's my Bengal. Check out her very cute belly. Oh, yeah. Yes, cutie. Yes, cutie. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I don't have any stats or anything, so I have no idea if anybody's in here. So let me see if I can find my chat. I'm all new at this stuff, guys. Where is the chat? Here we go. I got that up now. Wonder if I can just put that there. Today, I just want to chat about the Press Pulse protocol, the one that I did. And oh, let's not do that in caps, eh? I'm not yelling at anybody. All right, you can question some of what I have on here. Maybe I'll just kind of go through it quickly in case anybody's stopping in to say hi. Move that around. I have some documents to show you today, or at least one document. And I'll also... Yeah. Okay, so hi. Hello. I'm just getting this OBS streaming stuff handled, so I apologize if anybody's kind of watching this happen. I think I have this right. Okay, so I hope you can hear me. Last time I had some audio issues, but that's okay. I have stage 4 adenocarcinoma. They call it high-grade aggressive. I don't know if they use those terms to scare you a little bit, but I'd say I did okay. I'm now in remission. And so I think it's worth talking about because my path was a little different than a lot of people. My current status, so remission, I use that word, I use that term. I get really annoyed actually because I think the hospital stopped using it because it's kind of a legal thing. They would say you're in remission. What does that really mean? Now they say no evidence of active disease here in Canada. It's a mouthful. The no evidence of active disease, they could find evidence of disease, but it's not active. They could find dead tumor cells. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of reasons why they need to do this, but I want to kind of take back this whole remission idea because it's just easier to talk about. So essentially in 2016, I had been diagnosed with endometrial cancer. I had surgery and then I had radiation. The radiation was brachytherapy. If you know, not a nice thing to do. or go through. Any radiation or cancer standard of care is a pain in the ass and not fun. But I did okay. And after the surgery, healed from that. And then a few years later, became metastatic in the retroperitoneal lymph nodes in a cluster sort of between my kidneys, but tucked behind my spine. So it was inoperable. I was told to get my paperwork in order. That's never nice to hear. But here I am. This is what stage 4 remission can look like. What I did, and I think the big message for me is I went into therapeutic ketosis. Well, actually, that's not true. I went into ketosis first. I just stopped eating sugar. I didn't know it was ketosis. I just did a little bit of research on the whole sugar thing, on Warburg effect, which I think everybody should do. Back in, I think, 1920s, a doctor was studying cancer cells and figured out that glucose was one of the fuels it fermented. There were some other things that didn't go so great. And then the whole industry went off in this other area in genetics. And there's a bunch of doctors that have gone back to the Warburg effect, taken over what he was studying, and have come up with some really great things. And we're solving cancer as a metabolic disease. That's what I want to talk about because that's why I'm here. I did unfortunately have complications in that the first time I got that metastatic diagnosis in 2023, we just stopped sugar. I went to carnivore completely. I started learning that as an insulin resistant person with PCOS, I was large and in charge. I decided to make those moves. My partner, Dan, was fantastic in helping me by doing the diet as well. It's still a healthy diet. It's still fine. And we were both better off for it. And I started having the scans. The oncology department was trying to figure out what standard of care to give to me at that point because I had already had surgery and radiation. I'm familiar with their processes. But it was taking a long time. And because the CT scans, the PET scans were showing the tumor was shrinking, but I wasn't on standard of care yet. It was just from my diet. They didn't believe that. They were like, spontaneously shrinking, that it must not be cancer. So I went through some bullshit that you could look at other videos for that. But the main thing here is that we showed progress with shrinkage. Because of this oncology sort of gaslighting, ignoring what I was up to, not wanting to hear about the diet I was on, not wanting to understand that. I mean, I think I had to tell them a number of times that I wasn't losing weight because of cancer. It was purposeful. I was purposely eating less and eating better. So with all of this, I ended up taking their standard of care that they suggested for me after a bunch of shit went sideways. And then scan after scan, I did 7 rounds of chemo and immunotherapy, 2 kinds of chemo at the same time, and immunotherapy. And nothing was shrinking. Nothing was shrinking. Nothing was shrinking. So I just decided, all right, I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit. They told me I would be on immunotherapy the rest of my life. They threatened me that you won't be able to do immunotherapy again. You won't be able to start again. I asked even for a 2-month, can I take 2 months off treatment just so I could see if this metabolic thing works again? Nope. Not a fan of that. So I did. I quit. And their only obligation to me is to every 3 months give me a scan. And so that's what we do now every 3 months. I have another CT scan tomorrow. Is it tomorrow or Wednesday? Anyways, point being, I want to take you through what I did to get to remission, even though chemo wasn't shrinking anything. I took about a year and studied, and I was still on a keto diet, but I was learning more about insulin resistance. I was learning more about therapeutic ketosis. I was learning more about the Press Pulse protocol through another gentleman in Vancouver that had done some work on metabolics and with the Press Pulse protocol from Seyfried. Dr. Thomas Seyfried, that is. So I just learned, and I was trying to mimic everything that gentleman did. I didn't know at the time even that it was called Press Pulse Protocol, but it's what I was doing. Essentially suppressing the glutamine, so no sugar. Some people don't go carnivore to do this. They can get into therapeutic ketosis without being carnivore. But for my body, it was just easier. It was easier for not to have the options in the house and just to cut everything out. I didn't eat sugar. I didn't eat vegetables. I didn't eat carbs. I didn't eat no pastas, no rice, no potatoes, no vegetables, no fruit. If I did cheat at any time, like when I was really in trouble mentally, I would have blueberries, raspberries, things like that. But not many and not often. Because it would take me right out of ketosis. So essentially, I did that. And then I took antiparasitics. I lined up a series of conspiracy theories, essentially. Colloidal silver, methylene blue, all this stuff, soursop, apricot seed, all the shit that they explain. But what I did is I did a deep dive on each one of them, and then I decided which ones I was going to try first. I really had a better belief in the antiparasitics as an off-label med for suppressing the glutamine. And if you do enough research, you need to understand what you're trying to do in the Press Pulse. And it is that you're trying to suppress the glutamine, you're trying to suppress the glucose. These are two things that your cancer cells are fermenting as fuel. So it's understandable that a lot of people don't understand what that is or what that means, but do a little research just to understand every cell has a system that it works through. Mitochondria are in each cell, and they're the powerhouse of the cell. So really, they create this energy. And what we're trying to do is make sure that our healthy cells are healthy and our cancer cells are starved. Since they ferment glucose and glutamine, those are the two things you're trying to suppress. And so what I want to kind of do today is show you what I was doing and the tools I was using and the information I found to go through this. And now I did it on my own without any coaches or anything, and ended up getting a PET scan, having no evidence of active disease. So I was in remission. And then I did an RGCC blood test that gets sent to Greece. And the results came back that I still had some evidence of disease. So I wanted to try to get that lower. Oncology still called me no evidence of active disease, but that's what they can see. So these other tests that they have globally, outside of standard of care, outside of oncology and the cancer cult. I know I call it that, but I'm still very angry at oncology. So just let me have that for a minute. So anyways, I think the important part is, once I knew I still had some circulating tumor cells, I decided to do the Press Pulse protocol, and I found the right people and the coaches. One was a researcher that works with Seyfried, and so they're using the Press Pulse protocol based on his work. Cancer is a metabolic disease. Read the book. It's really, if you have any kind of science background, it'll make more sense to you, and it's hard to get through for some, but it's totally worth it, because you then understand. Like, to me, I had to have that aha moment before I could say, yes, this is for me. This is working. This is what I want to do. So yeah, I found the team. I sat down with them, and they gave me a document that was my guide. Very simple. They knew already that I was in therapeutic ketosis, or at least nutritional ketosis, a deeper nutritious ketosis than just a, not doing sugar. It wasn't just a keto diet. It's a serious diet. So I'm going to take you through that document. I have a couple things that I will read out from it. And I just want to sort of show you what I was given. I did redact most things, I think, out of here. So hopefully we don't see any personal information because I'm new at this whole sharing my screen thing. But this is the actual document they gave me. There was many others. There's supplement documents. There's substrate documents for medications that I would need. There's some other side sort of supplemental material, but this was the main piece. I was surprised at how little information there was. At the same time, it's all about you, like me. I had to decide to do these things. I had to make my mind up. I had to source the meds. They do help you. And then I also even had to dose out the medications. So I had to buy specialized equipment. I had to buy a scientific scale that went to 4 decimal places in order to dose out my Dawn. And again, I was only doing 1 cycle out of 4 that they recommend because I wanted to test it out, see what I thought. So I'm going to show you that document and we're going to take you through it right now. I'm not sure. Here I go. If I do this right. Boom. Yes, it worked. Okay. So let me take you through this very quick document. Again, it's not long. And it just shows you, I think, and I can't stress enough, this really is about making the decision to do this yourself. And, a lot of people get upset with Dr. Seyfried and other people talking about Press Pause protocol online because they say, oh, it's so like, they're not actually telling you what to do. Well, it's up to you. And you have to look at the stuff. You have to sort of dig in and do it yourself. So I'll go through the doc. And then if over time, I know this is live, but if anybody else has questions, I'm very happy to hear and respond as much as I can in the comments in the chat. So we started out with a medical disclaimer, and one of the things that they wanted to make very sure is that I did let my oncologists know what I was up to. Now I did, and they had zero. They did not want to hear it. So I just let them know I'm doing a ketosis diet. I'm not doing sugar. That's why in my opinion, that's why the tumor is decreasing. I was already also on RSO. We'll talk about that in a whole other episode. But essentially, yeah. And really, they are researchers. So they're just giving me information and I have to do with it what I can. They're not my doctor. They're not my oncologists. They're not technically part of that team. They're part of, the Lodi Health Clinic, which is the clinic that I was going to for things like the RGCC test, and they do other things like ozone therapy and vitamin C drips and things like that. So this was just to say, it's a disclaimer. So the document outlines medical protocols concerning metabolic treatment. It's intended strictly for information and educational purpose only. I just decided to do this, right? No substitute for professional advice, no medical advice, no doctor-patient relationship, potential risks, right? Because you're sort of a guinea pig and you're playing with your system a little bit, and you got to be very aware of what you're doing. So some cautioning, medical decisions, prioritizing expert guidance and things like that. So you get to decide if you're the expert of you, which is what I did. I decided that I was the expert of me. And since chemo, all of my reports were showing that it wasn't shrinking, that it was just stable. While oncology thinks that's a win, that's not a win for me. That's not near a win for me. I was already shrinking it before. Don't mess with me. I know what I'm doing. So I went off on that. Again, consulting my healthcare providers, they wanted nothing to do with anything other than their oncology standard of care, which is really sad. And one of the reasons why I want to reform oncology, it's just wrong. They're harming people and they don't need to be. That is my opinion. And as a disclaimer for this video, all of these things are my opinions. Product usage disclaimer, yes. So there's substrates, everything else they talk about in here, and we'll go through it. Privacy policy, blah, blah, blah. I submitted the form. I let everybody know that I was into doing this, and I agreed. So the protocol itself, the substrates, dosing, scheduling, and timing. I will not be able to stress this enough. The scheduling, the timing of when you do all these things is super important. I say this because I see people doing, oh, I'm going to go into hyperbarics. Okay. Oh, I'm doing ketosis. Oh, I'm doing fasting. Oh, I'm doing apricot, whatever you want to do, apricot seeds, all these things. You have to think about the timing and what they're doing to the actual cells. Now, the point being, the scheduling and timing is so important because if you're suppressing glutamine, but you're not already in therapeutic ketosis and you're not suppressing glucose, it's for naught. You got to choke out the cell. You got to choke out both things at the same time. And that's the hard part. So you got to get into therapeutic ketosis first and then suppress the glutamine. And while you're suppressing the glutamine, which you can only do in spurts because your body needs glutamine, so you can't stress it out for too long, for too often. You got to be taking breaks. When you're suppressing the glutamine, that's when you go to HBOT. I will also mention that when I did it myself, when I actually got to remission myself, I used antiparasitics, horse-based, ivermectin. A lot of my videos are taken down because I say that, but that is the truth. I did not go to hyperbarics either, but I was doing breathing exercises. I don't know 100% if that helped, but that was my way to do hyperbarics without being able to do hyperbarics. I just literally would daily manage stress and sit and breathe deeply. I did a lot of different types of breath work, just learning about it. And I found that it helped with the stress and everything else. You got to remember that stress levels cause cortisol to rise, and it's a glucose, and it screws with your glucose too. So you got to remember that all this stress and whatnot you have to get rid of. Anyway, so substrate dosing, scheduling and timing, super important. My little note here, timing of the drugs, supplements, and substrates has the most impact. Therapeutic ketosis is extremely hard. Yes, I want to, restate that. It is not just a keto diet. It's not easy. To survive, it's very much worth it. I lost a significant amount of weight while I was doing it. Not a bad thing. All very healthy. I felt much healthier. In ketosis, I feel stronger. Sugar doesn't play such a role in my joints and pain and things like that. So I just generally feel better in ketosis. Where am I? Okay, yeah. This is a unpopular opinion. I've done surgery for cancer. I've done radiation. I've done chemos, and I've done immunotherapy. The Press Pulse protocol was harder because it is life change. It is harder because I'm a sugar addict. It was harder than chemo. And I'm going to say it. You can hate me for saying it. My opinion is that Press Pulse protocol is harder than chemo. Absolutely. I'm going to go as far as to say as chemo might be the easy way out for some. And I get that. I honestly get that. But my position would be that absolutely listen to your oncologist, absolutely listen to their standard of care and what they want to treat you with, but do not go into it without looking at watching and studying Safe Read for a very short amount of time and trying at least for a month. I beg of people, try at least for a month to go zero sugar to see if your tumor shrinks, to see if there's any loss in the size or activity before you do standard of care. And I'll tell you why, because chemo is going to affect you for the rest of your life. Even immunotherapy is screwed with every one of my major organs now. I've had thyroid issues, spleen issues, I've had liver issues, kidney issues, all because of immunotherapy. And then the worst one is a full body rash that comes and goes whenever it wants to. My skin, your biggest organ, has screwed me long term. Chemo brain, the effects of chemo afterwards on your life are severe. And many people can do the press pulse protocol and get to remission without having to do these toxic things. So try first. Try first. And if you can't, then go to standard of care. That's my suggestion. I'm not a doctor. I'm a patient. I've gone through this shit. I've been through all of it. I've had cancer for about 10 years. That's my position. Okay. So we're going to start with, here's the elements, okay? The press pulse protocols, two sections. The press is consistently suppress glucose, which is sugar. There's sugar in potatoes. You want to go have fries? Don't have fries. Don't have poutine. I'm Canadian, so I'm going to mention that. Your potato chips, like anything potatoes, forget about it. Rice, forget about it. Pastas, forget about it. Bread, forget about it. It's not going to help you. And this can be temporary. Like, listen, this is about your life, right? I still get so freaked out that people with diabetes will not stop sugar, and they get to the point where they're having amputations, literal limb amputations, because they won't stop sugar. They're not getting it. You can fix this, and it's going to be okay. So with the press, you're suppressing glucose. I personally didn't do any vegetables, didn't do any fruit. Everybody said, oh yeah, but it's good for you. The point being, glucose is what cancer ferments. It's one of the two things cancer ferments. Just stop all of it for a short amount of time and see if your tumor kills off some of those active cells. So the daily blood glucose and ketone levels, if you can maintain your blood glucose levels at or under 3.5, that is where you want to be, millimoles per liter. Now, when I get my glucose meter out, I generally fall around a 5. 5.5, 5.2, 5.6, 5.2, 5.4, 5.1, 5.7, 5.9. I have been to 6.2 maybe at the worst. They would call that, I think, pre-diabetic or somewhere around 7. But it's on a regular basis, I was fairly pre-diabetic-ish. And I was, again, PCOS, insulin resistant. I have a background of just, I'm a sugar addict. So the ketone level's important. So once you stop sugar, your body starts to adjust to the premium gasoline. Let's look at it like as a car. There's regular fuel, which is, carbs, sugar, vegetables, whatever. There's the way your regular body will function off sugar. And then there's the better fuel, which means your body's, now that it doesn't have so much glucose, your body runs off fats and ketones. When your body starts producing ketones, that's when I started feeling better. I started feeling like, wow, like this is, I can do well. I physically felt better. I was physically able to do activities more. I started seeing the benefits already. So your ketone levels, you want between 2 and 8. Now, on a regular basis for me, like if I took it right now, I'm probably at a 0.8, 0.9, maybe a 1, maybe a 1.2. On a regular basis, I sit around between zero point 0.5 and 1.5. I had trouble as an insulin resistant person getting my ketones to 2 to 2.5 on a regular basis. It's hard for me, but I can do it. And then in order to get into hyperbarics, they wanted my ketones to be at 4. So that was always a goal for me to get better at all of these things. But that is the press. The press is a constant, consistent, over a few months, you want to be in at least nutritional ketosis. And then when you're really pressing on this, you want to do the therapeutic ketosis. So that's like over 3 or 4. Then you want your stress management techniques. So you got to lower and regulate your cortisol. It helps maintain that glucose response, stable it. And then I did not do massage or anything like that, but I did Reiki. So I have a friend who's a Reiki master and was able to take time. I don't even know 100% if I'm connecting with the right things or if this is my thing, but what I did appreciate was it was an hour of me. I was able to take a second, not think of anything else, do a bit of a sound bath, do a bit of, it's like just relaxing. So helping with the cortisol, helping with all of that stuff was paramount to me working my way up to better ketosis and deeper ketosis. So I was doing all that on a regular basis, hard, but doable. I have some dietitian information that I got from the team, and I'll share that with you. I'll probably go through diets and stuff like that in a whole other episode, maybe Wednesday or Friday or something like that. And then there was antiparasitics. So in the protocol, there's a video that Dr. Seyfried talks about why he didn't use ivermectin. And that was basically because of the bullshit online, and, it was the it thing at the time. And so membenzidol, fembenzidol, there's other antiparasitics that are in the same class of drugs that you can also use. And for this, the researcher was using membenzidol. So that's what I actually did for this cycle. Definitely worth looking at anything with Thomas Seyfried and fembenzidol or membenzidol or ivermectin, any antiparasitics. When they discuss that, it'll explain how it's helping to choke out what the cancer cells can ingest or ferment. So there's another drug, and I had heard about this early on, didn't think I'd ever have access to it, which I ended up being able to get, is 6-diazo-5-oxo-L-norleucine. We call it NON, apparently. This has a specific dosage, which I'll show you a little bit later on. It's very specific, and it comes in this weird flaky substance, and I had to dose it myself. That's where I had the scientific scale. And you have to progressively go up. It does mess with your stomach. So there's a bunch of other things you want to do. They suggest a very slow, progressive, way to move up. So your concentrations are in the right area. And then, of course, there was the last one was the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which I was very lucky. And the hyperbaric organization here, run by, I think it's 7 doctors. I had to present the case to them because this isn't something they normally do. It's not something covered by OHIP or anything. I live in Ontario, Canada. So I had to pay for that, which is fine. And I hope that this organization, Control All Cancer, eventually can start collecting money and helping other patients that can't afford these kinds of things. Dawn was the most expensive substrate I had to purchase. And I only did 1 cycle. I think if I did 4, I would have broke the bank. I wouldn't have been able to. Just no way. So it's one of those things that, but I should note, again, I'll remind that the antiparasitics did it the first time. So I could just do that again and continue the cycles. There's different ways you can achieve this. This was just one of the protocol that they're studying. So that's what they want you to do. I think the other, yeah, okay. So administered at 2.5 atmospheres. Something to be said about hyperbarics is there are hard shell hyperbaric chambers. There's soft shell. The soft shell, from what I understand, don't go as low as you need to go in atmospheric pressure. So it's best to go to the medical grade, a hard shell, and make sure that you're doing it at the same time as you're in therapeutic ketosis. I keep saying that because it's about timing, right? You got to hit the cells with everything at the same time. I don't think I got to 2.4 even. They asked for 2.5. I think because it took so long to get to the to get the HBOT people to agree to have me go in, they wanted just to be safe. So they didn't want to put me down too far when my glucose was low and my ketones were high. So we just testing things out. If I would have did another cycle, I would have been able to get to 2.5. I'm very sure of it. I didn't have any issues. I didn't have pain in my ears or anything like that. It was a very interesting process. We'll say that. I'm not even sure I did 90 minutes under. I think maybe 90 minutes in full, but going in and coming out was part of that. And I didn't do 3 times a week. I think at best I did twice a week for the cost, essentially. Each cycle includes 6 doses of Dawn administered every 4th day over a 21-day period. So the way that it happens is obviously you're already in therapeutic ketosis, and then you're going to take your Dawn. While you're on Dawn, you're going to be in the hyperbaric chamber, and then you wait a few days. You keep doing that. And then you take a 10 to 14 day rest between protocols. Again, I only did the 1 cycle. So I didn't do all 4. I didn't take 14 days in between. But when I finished my 1 cycle, I did another RGCC test and my numbers did go lower. So it was successful. What it wasn't successful at is, I think, proving for the researchers, because they need the same people going through the 4 cycle, all 4 cycles. So their data's complete. So I wasn't the perfect client for that. And there will be other better clients that'll go through the protocol with them and be able to sort of document the wins. So make sure you're in that HBOT chamber on Dawn days. Best practice is taking the Dawn 30 to 45 minutes before I do the HBOT session. Incorporate additional HBOT sessions between Dawn days. You could. Again, with me, it was cost, not happening. Ketones play a crucial role in protecting healthy cells during HBOT. So this was really interesting because I did have to check my ketones right before going into the, hold on. Okay, sorry, I just had an echo. Right before going in to the chambers. And if I wasn't at a 4, I wasn't allowed in. And it just makes sense because you want your ketones to be really high so your cells are working off the right fuels so they're protected while you're 2 point whatever atmospheres under. Optimizing cellular protection, maximizing therapy effectiveness, depriving cancer cells of glucose and exposing them to oxidative stress. So what you're doing is essentially when you're choking out the glucose and the glutamine, the cancer cells are already struggling like, you're not giving me any fuel. And then it also doesn't like high oxygen levels, right? So you're just blasting it with oxygen as well. And it's like, wait a minute, then they die. So I'll go through what it looked like, the 4 cycles. I didn't do that. As a note, it's essential to consume fiber. So I had psyllium husk, and I don't think I did that many grams because it wasn't really great for my stomach, but protecting the GI tract. And again, there's a lot of supplements and substrates that I can go over here, but that's essentially what I was shown. Most individuals find they can tolerate high doses of Dawn when fiber is consistently incorporated, which is true. Once I started with fiber, it was a little bit better. And because I was on a carnivore diet, fiber wasn't part of the plan. So I had to eat more fiber purposely. And I just did it by pill form because it was easier. And then as soon as I have any sugar, I want to eat all the sugar. So just easier to do that. And then, yeah, so the goal, Don, is to do the highest dose that you can comfortably tolerate, right? And through all of this, that's the key, is if you can't go any further, then stop. So we'll just talk about Don for a second. It's a critical pillar of the Press-Pals protocol because it inhibits glutamine metabolism. It deprives the cancer cells of key fuel to rely on and grow and spread. By inhibiting glutaminolysis, I think that's right, Don works synergistically with glucose-lowering strategies, restricting the availability of two fuels cancer cells need to perform substrate-level fermentation. Okay. Now, membenzidol specifically, because I was taking that one, they added this into my document. It's an essential component of the Press-Pals protocol due to its ability to disrupt microtubule formation. They've learned a little bit more about the antiparasitics now and what they do. But essentially inhibiting cancer cell division, inducing apoptosis or cell death. Additionally, it interferes with angiogenesis, cutting off the blood supply to tumors, making it powerful tool in weakening cancer cells. Combination of metabolic therapies. Now, I call me crazy, which people have, and that's why I start all of my things with "Hey Crazies," because you got to be a little crazy if you're going to do things like take horse paste, but you're trying to survive, so you're going to take anything really at that point. Chemo wasn't working, so what was it going to do? I literally took the horse paste, put it into gel caps, and that's how I ingested it. But it would do exactly the same things here, I believe. So at the time I didn't have this information, but it all makes a heck of a lot of sense. Now, metformin, I wanted to mention because I did end up for this cycle took metformin. Now, it was hard on my stomach. I didn't like it. I try very hard now in maintenance phase. I got off metformin, but there's a bunch of experts, longevity experts, say that it's really good for you. And many people are taking it that aren't even diabetic. They're trying to live longer. There's a whole longevity class of people out there that are just really working on living forever, and they tend to take metformin. I also took a lot of berberine with every meal. It lowers glucose response, so that was definitely something I took. Now, the dapagliflozin, I did take that during that one cycle, so for about a month, again, all for this press and pulse protocol. I did not continue taking these two things. I do take berberine, not as often as I did then, but I do take it. Electrolytes, very important. I was on a cancer diet anyway, so salt was high in my requirements and electrolytes. So yeah, keep that up. Sodium chloride, potassium chloride, magnesium, adenine. I took all of these, needed all of these, and learned a heck of a lot of what it takes to be healthy and keep your cells healthy while you're trying to go through all of this. Now, the 4 protocol cycles look like this: protocol 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, the point being, each one, you're kind of raising, how many milligrams you're going to have of each of the protocol things. So based on your weight, you line up how much of the Dawn you're going to take that day. You put it out on a schedule, and you make sure you're coordinating your Dawn schedule with the hyperbarics. And yeah, it just all has to work. The timing and everything has to work together. So this is what it looked like when, and it's not much, but this is literally, that's all. That's the end of the protocol. That's the end of the doc. So I only did the one cycle, and I went through, I dosed all of these out into, again, gel caps. And someday I'll show a picture of my, my big, almost $700 scientific scale that I had to buy, which, if you live in Ontario, and you're doing the press pulse protocol, I will say right now, I will deliver this thing to you. Don't go buying it. We'll figure out a way that you don't have to buy another one. Let's share this piece of equipment that I have sitting in my closet now, because I'm not doing Dawn at this point. If I get cancer again, I will. But I'm in maintenance phase, and so maintenance phase, I'm doing this on my own without the substrates and without most of the supplements, just because it's costly. And I know better how to eat. Now probably my daily battle is more about the addiction of sugar, because I still have the addiction issue. I can't shake that. So wait, let me land on something important. I'm going to say it one more time just because it's in red. To achieve measurable clinical outcomes from the press pulse protocol, critical to maintain all 5 elements cohesively and effectively. The scientists who have studied this protocol stress the timing and safety. It is very important. And I will also just say before finishing up, when you watch Dr. Seyfried, I can tell now, it's because I've been watching him for a few years now. I can tell now he's getting annoyed with having to say the same things over again. And people in the comments keep saying like, oh, like he's not giving me enough information. There is enough information. It's just that you have to do it. It's scary to do it. It's hard as hell, especially if you're a sugar addict, a food addict. But it's totally doable, and it's the better way to do it. I'll tell you, I absolutely regret chemo. I regret immunotherapy. I regret not listening to the fact that I shrunk my tumor by 80%, by the way, before I started treatment. Now, my other videos tell you why I did choose that. And it was a mistake on Oncology's part that made me very fearful for my life. I don't know if that's a tactic. And again, my opinion. But oncology needs to be reformed in a big, bad way, because many people, even food addicted people like me, with my second metastatic, high grade, aggressive, inoperable cancer, I'm still here. Their numbers used to be that only 17% survive after 5 years. This is different now, right? Most people can manage this without standard of care, and I want to stress that you try. At least try. If it doesn't work, after a month of real trying, you should see a difference in the size of your tumors, and if not, then you have a backup of oncology and toxicity to poison it out of you, if at all possible. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a patient. I've gone through this. I'm just saying, personally, my opinion is that that's how I would do it. Try first. Try anything. Inform yourself. Look at the science. Make sure it makes sense for you. Whatever you're going to try, give it a go. Know that you got to keep yourself safe but look, and when you watch these videos and you think, oh, it's a conspiracy theory or whatever you might think it is, Diary of a CEO, Dr. Thomas Seyfried, there's a couple good videos on there. Look at the comments. And when you find somebody that says, this worked for me or this worked, ask them questions, DM them. Find out how they did it. Did they do the press pulse? Did they do it on their own? Did they just do ketosis? Did they, where were they at? Start asking the questions. You have to research a little deeper than what you see. People are going to claim this isn't true. I even have oncologists online saying, eat sugar, eat what you want. The Warburg theory, the Warburg effect is non-disputable. Scientists don't dispute that. So take that as the grain that you start with and work from there. Cancer is metabolic. And this is the new stage 4 cancer in remission. You can do it. Try anything, do what you got to do. Don't give up. If you're capable of getting into ketosis, if you're capable of suppressing glutamine, try it and contact me. I'll help you along the way if I can. Have a great day. Have a great week.